feels and looks a little bit like baseball today with the sun out and the warmer temperatures. I know it's going to be nice and warm here in Omaha this weekend, so here we go. You know, the guys are anxious to play. They're anxious to get on that plane tomorrow, head out to Fresno for the first weekend series. And sometimes as a coach, you know, you'd like a little more time, but I know the players, they probably would have preferred to play last week already. So we'll hopefully have a good workout today and then head out there tomorrow and play on Friday night.
Take questions. If you're pitching, you've got a lot of arms, a lot of experience. How nice is it to have that luxury going in or in? How much fluctuation will there be in terms of setting the rotation?
Well, you know, it's especially these first couple weekends when your pitchers aren't ready to go, you know, 5, 6, 7 innings. So what we'll do this weekend, and because we have the luxury of having a few starting pitchers, we can piggyback these games. So there'll be 2 starters pitching both Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, all 3 of those games, and hopefully get us into about the 7th or 8th inning. And then we'll try to match up with our bullpen situation. But it creates a good situation. Competition is always good. I know the players sometimes would prefer not to have competition. They'd prefer to walk out on the field knowing that they're going to pitch in the rotation or they're going to be the closer or whatever. But competition is so important for young players. And it creates a situation where if we do have some injuries, and I don't know a year when you're not going to have some injuries on your pitching staff, that you'll have the opportunity to bounce another guy in there and not lose much. So it's something that we've worked really, really hard on to try to develop the depth on that staff. And I'll be honest, I never thought we'd have probably this much depth. I believe we have 15 guys that can get Division I hitters out right now. And normally your staff consists of about 10 or 11 pitchers. So we've got a few of them there. There's a few of them that will not even travel this weekend that I believe could help us. And they know that, so they'll continue to work hard in preparation for some situation where a pitcher goes down, and then we'll just next man up. So
you've had a chance to see these guys progress through the fall and over the winter. Do you get the sense, having been so close in the tournament, that it's stuck with them as a driving chip? I mean, sometimes that can be a motivator, or maybe sometimes not. Well, what have you seen?
Yeah, this group, you know, it's been a couple years since we've been in a regional, and not a player that's on our roster right now has played in a regional. Some of them were redshirt freshmen the last time we were in there, Reagan Fowler, John Altman, but you know, they're anxious to, they don't want to be the first class in a long time that came through for 4 years and not get to a regional. That being said, they know that it's not going to be easy. I mean, games like this weekend against Fresno give us an opportunity to, if we don't, you know, win the conference tournament, which we haven't the last 2 years, to potentially set yourself up for an at-large bid. I'd like to have some options other than just play that one game on Sunday. In baseball, you're just never sure what's going to happen. We've seen that happen the last 2 championships. I'd like to have some options going into that. In order for that to happen, we got to play well this weekend. You know, we can't play into the season like a lot of schools can. You know, the southern schools have a little bit of advantage. They can play into the season a little bit. You know, we got to be ready to go Friday night, and I'll be surprised if we're not.
And talk about the experience on this team. I mean, you've had some veteran teams, but you've got 23 juniors and seniors on this team. Is this the most experience you've had?
Yeah, it is. You know, it's kind of funny. We had a steak fry about a week and a half ago, and I always let the players introduce themselves. And when we got to the sophomores and freshmen, there was nobody there. They were all seniors and juniors. So it's good if you use it. You know, and I've reminded the players that experience is one of the greatest things you can have in college athletics, but you have to use it. And we got, you know, Nicky Lopez, a 3-year starter. Fitzgerald's been a 4-year starter. Fowler's been a 4-year starter. Brett Murray's been a 3-year starter. That goes a long ways. And, you know, Nick Heiberger's been in the bullpen for all 4 years. You know, John Altman and so on. So I'd prefer to have a team with experience, but they have to use that experience because there's going to be some quirks that happen each and every game, and you hope that that experience helps you get through it. We'll find out this weekend if that experience helps us, because there'll be some situations that go on out there that are going to kind of catch us off guard a little bit, and then you hope your experience can get through that.
What do you want to see see out of Fowler this year? I mean, he's been so steady at the plate, trying to hit for average and getting on base. Does he have the ability to have some pop?
Yeah. Well, we need to keep Reagan healthy. And anybody who followed us last year knew that Reagan had some lower back issues. He played through it because he's a team guy, but he was not quite the same player he was the year before. Didn't have as many extra base hits. Wasn't quite didn't have as much range at first base. Wasn't running the bases like he's capable of running. So the good news is, I think he's stronger. He's healthy. And I'm trying to do my darndest to make sure that these players stay healthy for the year. So I've had to adapt a little bit with what we like to do in practice. We pulled back a little bit on some of the things that we've done in the past because, Reagan will play every game. He's not one of these guys that's going to come up to you and say, hey, I can't go today. But I want him to play healthy like he did 2 years ago because he was the best player in the league 2 years ago, and he wasn't quite the same player last year. And if you've ever done anything with a lower back issue, trying to hit a baseball is probably not a very easy thing to do when you have back issues.
Talk about Lacey as your starter. How important to see you kind of get that weekend started, and what will...
Well, actually, we'll start Matt Warren on Friday night. I'm going with experience. Matt's been in that rotation for 4 years. I think there's going to be a lot of anxiety the first night. Fresno's got a lot of tradition out there. There'll be some folks in the stands. So I opted to go with a veteran guy who's pitched in a lot of those games. But Raleigh does have a chance. Raleigh Lacey could be a special pitcher for us. He's just scratching the surface, and he won 6 games last year. He's stronger now. His velocity's up a little bit. There's a lot to pitching that sometimes we don't understand. There's more than just throwing the pitch. And that's where Raleigh's gotten a little bit better, controlling the running game, fielding bunts, those kind of things. That'll help him keep the score down. So he does have a big upside, and it'll be interesting to see how he evolves this year, because last year he had a chip on his shoulder. I mean, he came from never traveling as a freshman, redshirting, to being a middle reliever first couple weekends last year to jumping into that Friday role. So I've tried to warn him that he needs to stay hungry. That's why he got to where he got last year. Easier said than done with sometimes young people.
You mentioned Warren. He's obviously been a stud for you in years past. Is he the guy that on question days, or as you said, there could be some movement as the year goes on?
I think there'll be movement before it's all over with. Again, the reason Matt gets the nod Friday night, he's a 3-pitch guy. I think it's important to throw those have a 3-pitch guy available that first weekend. And then hopefully, it's also important that we throw a lot of strikes. I think we can keep the score down on Fresno. I think it's going to be hard for us to score. I think their strength is in their pitching staff. So I look for some very low-scoring games early until the hitters maybe get accustomed to live pitching. But the thing I don't want to see happen is ball four, an error, and all of a sudden we got an issue on our hands and they didn't earn anything. So I think Matt will go out there and throw strikes. He'll be able to throw 3 pitches for strikes. And, when he's got his changeup going, he's a good pitcher. He's a good pitcher because the changeup will neutralize a good hitter. Rarely will a hitter take BP with a changeup. They take BP with fastballs.
And talk about the Big East. A lot of people are picking St. John's. How do you see the Big East? How tough is it?
Well, St. John's returns, about half their club, but they did lose some parts. Now they got a really good center fielder. I think he's excellent. One of the better players in the league. Left fielder. A lot of people project to be a pretty good draft choice. Third baseman and so on. They did lose their rotation, but they bring in a lot of junior college guys, so I'm sure we'll see some good arms. They got maybe the best closer in the country on the back end, so all they try to do is get to the 6th or 7th inning and get this thing figured out. He's a low 3/4 arm, sidearm kind of guy, and he can throw, 3 days in a row if you have to. So Seton Hall, I know Seton Hall didn't quite play at the level they're accustomed to. The team that we need to watch is Xavier, and Xavier's really had a hard time last year with injuries. It really wiped out their whole team, but they started 4 freshmen about the better half of the second part of the year, And now those guys are sophomores, plus they return a lot of the injured players. So I think Xavier is going to get in the mix again. Villanova returns almost their entire team. Georgetown returns the number one pitcher. He's every bit as good. He's an all-conference guy. He's every bit as good as a lot of guys, number one. So I think the conference is better than people give it credit for. I know when we think of some schools, we just don't think of baseball, but trust me, the Villanovas, Georgetowns, Butlers, they're a handful. And I think the conference has improved a lot. We're looking forward to getting into conference play. We do have to go to St. John's this year, so that'll be an interesting weekend for us.
I think having 23 upperclassmen, junior seniors, is huge because we've been through the grind. We've all experienced 2 conference championship losses, and then another half of us have experienced just another bad conference tournament where we missed a chance at an at-large berth. So I think having all these older guys can prepare us more for that last push, and it's a lot of guys' last year. So our goal is to be playing in June.
I think having upperclassmen is huge. More so because we've just been together. We hang out with each other on the field. But more importantly, we're off the field with each other all the time. We're boys, and winning a championship would just be the icing on the cake for all of us.
Yeah, I agree with Ryan on that, but also at the same time, we have a lot of experience. We're all been starters past 2 years. We've got a bullpen that's extremely experienced. We've all seen a lot of innings and a lot of different Division I hitters, and we can just really spread our insight around the whole team to kind of bring those younger guys up and kind of get them going for the rest of the year.
Is it motivating you guys? This is for everybody, though. You can start. Ed, Coach said that this could be a group, make the tournament as a group that never made the tournament. How much is that a motivating factor to make the NCAA tournament qualify for that?
Yeah, there's tradition here at Creighton, and winning is obviously part of the tradition. Making it to a regional, super regional, College World Series is the goal every year, and this year is, as much as any year we want to do it, especially. It's my last year, and these other two's last year, and just to do that would be unbelievable.
I think it's really motivating. We've put in a lot of hard work for 4 years, and then the past 3 we've come up just short. So I think the whole team's pretty motivated to get it done this year.
Yeah, pretty much kind of reiterating what they're saying, but we've gotten close the past 2 years. Right there, kind of had those bittersweet losses, and it's been a couple really hard 2 years, just kind of having it right there in front of us and kind of taken right out from our hands. But we're ready for actually to do it this year.
I don't want to jinx it, but how are you health-wise?
I feel good. I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Have you done something different in the preseason? Maybe they've kind of pulled back, or you've been doing the same
No,
thing?
I do everything everyone else does. No pulling back.
What do you want to improve on this year?
Nothing individually, just as a team, just win more. We need to improve, win those close games, win those Tuesday games, which is going to give us an opportunity. If we win more Tuesdays, we'll have a better chance to make it to an at-large. So just win those tight one-run games. We need to capitalize this season on that.
Think about pitching staff, the way that it shapes up this year. You got to feel good, as a back-end guy, knowing your front-end guys are a little more experienced. How does that help you in the pen and what you guys will be able to do this season to finish out the game?
Absolutely. We have our whole rotation's returning, and pretty much our entire bullpen's returning, and it's really nice to see. From a pitching standpoint, to see the whole defense returning too. And we really don't have any fears when the bat's put on the ball, and we're really confident with our starting rotation this year. Pretty much they're all veterans. They've all been out there. They've had experience. Same with our bullpen. There's no really worries about who's going to go in or if we want to kind of avoid going to this guy. It's just whoever's going in, we know they're going to get the job done. And it just adds to the more confidence that we have this year.